Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 5:20, 22. And,
No. Day, then month, then year. How many more times? Allow me to show you how it's done.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be here. Jones here, Mister, from Bolton, Lancashire, in England land. It's 24/05/2022, an interesting date on our beautiful flat Earth.
See? How hard was that? Well, hello there, dearest viewer, and welcome back to my little corner of the YouTubies. Thank you all so much for joining me now. Before we go any further, please like, share and subscribe. That would be fantastic. Thank you all so much. And please consider joining me on Patreon or becoming a channel member. These beautiful people did. Where were we? Crystal Bergero, Alan L, Bob Sadler, Maurice Gautreau and District Driver. Thank you all so very, very much. I do hope you like that little bit there where I've got the names jumping in there. I've done it in OBS with hotkeys, and I find it a lot easier to do it like that, and a lot quicker to do it like that than timing everything and putting the text in video editing software, etc, etc, etc. You know the drill. Just one thing before we get stuck into today's video. I appear to have lost a few people since last week's video, and I can only guess that it's the Greta Thunberg joke that I did that may have offended or upset some people. If it has, I am deeply, deeply sorry. And if it has, please, please, please come and private message me either on Twitter or Discord. I'm not going to make them public, obviously, the comments public, because you private message me and they're private use anyway. So I'm not going to make them public. If there's anything else that's upset you or offended you that I've done, please come and tell me. I can't put anything right if you can't tell me where I'm going wrong. So please, if you don't want to put it in the comments below, put it in a DM and DM me. And I do hope that everything's well with you and your families, etc. And I do hope that you come back very, very soon. Okay? Now, let's crack on. Then we've got my old favourite flirt and conspirator, CC Chris. And by jibbity, does he go full whack job on this particular video. Oh, before I forget, stick around to the end of the video because there's a few outtakes in there that you might like.
it's a Friday.
No, it isn't. It's Wednesday. Oh, you meant when you record. Sorry, do continue.
I'd like to give you a little something to think about over the weekend, but probably will be putting a video out over the weekend anyway. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't know how many years ago, several years ago, I saw a video with ripples on the moon.
Ripples? Raspberry ripples? Banana ripples? Vanilla ripples?
And that really had me thinking, you know. At the time, I didn't really know YouTube, you know, because I never used any social networking at all whatsoever. In fact, I hated it.
You made up for it since, though, haven't you?
But now that I'm a flat earther, everybody at home are asleep still. Well, almost. Most of them, I would say. You know what really gets me, though? After all these years, after all of this shit, after all the videos that the big boys have put out, that everybody has put out, tearing apart NASA, tearing apart the moon, destroying the relationship between the moon and the sun, because we know there is none.
You're slightly wrong there, Mr. Chris, I'm afraid, because the sun and the moon do have a bit of a relationship. The sun pulls on the moon twice as hard as the Earth does, but because the moon isn't moving fast enough to escape Earth's gravity, it doesn't get pulled into the sun's gravity.
People are just trolling us. That's all it is. You know, because they would have done their research by now. It's been many years. they would have done their research. And they would have come to a conclusion that every flat earther has come to the conclusion of that we live in a stationary, flat plane covered with a dome, and everything up there is a fucking amazing light show. Okay? That's all it is.
Well, Mr. Chris, where is this dome? Who put the dome there? What is the dome made of? Who cleans this dome? How wide or how long is this flat plane that we supposedly live on? These are all questions that you need to have the answers to if we are to take you seriously, Mr. Chris.
It doesn't make a difference how much education you have or whatever it may be. Stop hiding. You know the earth is flat.
No, we don't. We know it's an oblate spheroid.
Anyway, I think I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm going to be doing videos of the moon and of stars.
Now, Mr. Chris, I'm going to give you a piece of advice here, and it's only one word, and that word is focus.
The tripod I bought was actually rather expensive, but it's not doing what I want it to do, you know? It still shakes a little bit. I don't know what the fuck it is. I gotta figure it out. I gotta toy with it. But
Mr. Chris, do you know that you can buy anti-shake tripods, or tripods with a spirit level on, perhaps? I'm going to pop a link in the description below, so please don't say that I don't help out.
So I want to throw my hat in the ring, and I want to see if I can capture these videos. All right, you're not going to be able to see. The thing is, with the ripples on the moon, you're not going to be able to see through that little screen that's on a P1000. You can't. It's like impossible, and you can't sit there and stare at it. So the thing that you do is you can review the video when you get home and see if it's there. You know.
Did you just say P1000, the flat earther's camera of choice? You dumb shit. What a Burke. If you're going to... I don't know how much the P1000 costs, but let's just say it costs $1,000. I don't know, and I don't particularly care, to be honest. But save that cash. Buy a telescope. Buy the tool, the very tool that's designed to look at faraway objects. Like, for instance, the moon and the stars. And depending on what telescope you can buy, you can get some spectacular images of the stars. You can zoom into the moon and get some incredible detail in the moon. You zoom into the planets as well. It's endless. The limits are endless. You can just attach a cheapo camera to the lens and record some spectacular, beautiful images. You really, really can. So, don't use a spoon to perform open heart surgery, and don't use a P1000 to bloody zoom into the stars, because no doubt that you'll get them out of focus. Use the telescope. Please, Chris, I beg you. All right? And then you might convince yourself that the earth isn't flat.
I don't have a tracker device on the tripod. I've looked it up, and they're quite expensive. They're not cheap. So I don't know. We will see. We will see. But I am going to try to get it.
Do you know, Mr. Chris, I am going to give you some free, I say again, free consumer advice here. Now, for the price of a P1000, you could get a really, really good telescope, a tripod with an EQ mount. You could connect all that up to a computer with some tracking software on it, and you could take the most spectacular images of the moon, the planets, the stars, etc., etc., all for the price of a Nikon P1000, the flat earther's camera of choice.
Anyway, the one thing I want you to think about...
Milk chocolate hobnobs?
We all know what Albert Einstein did. We all know what Copernicus did. We all know these famous people from our past that nobody's ever met, that I think have created them, to be honest with you.
Oh, please don't tell me you think that Einstein and Copernicus were fake.
They didn't create Einstein, but he, obviously was just there to come up with this equation that does not work and makes no sense at all.
Well, Mr. Chris, if you're talking about E equals mc squared, it's just energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Which means that energy and mass, or energy and matter, are both different forms of the same thing, meaning that they are both interchangeable.
And then all the scientists out there, they feed off of it because they never go back to the other scientists they're feeding off of to see if they ever made any mistakes. They just follow his platform and then they continue their bullshit. That's all they do. That's what a scientist does. He doesn't recheck any work that the previous scientists did. They don't care. Oh, we'll just go with it. We'll run with it. Let me come up with some more equations and some more shit on the chalkboard. There's another one. And there's another one. Another board right there. Let's just write 50 boards of computations for everybody to look at and say, yes, that is how gravity works. Yes, that's how a black hole works.
Oh, Christopher, you really do give, science and scientists a bad name. Because if it wasn't for science and scientists, you wouldn't be sat there now. Simple as. You see, what science does, it comes up with a theory. And it tests that theory over and over and over again. And then it comes up with a new theory and tests that new theory over and over and over again. If that new theory works better than the old theory, then the new theory replaces the old theory. It's as simple as that. That's what it does. I mean, who knows? In a few hundred years' time, we may have another Einstein who explains gravity better and how it works. So that theory will get tested over and over again. And if it works, that will replace Einstein's theories. Oh, come on, Chris. Even you know this.
Oh, and they're pulling up the old picture back up with the fucking black hole in the middle of the galaxy. I mean, come on, look at this pathetic thing. I mean, really? It's a fucking butthole.
No, it's not a butthole. It is a black hole. One might say that they are one and the same thing, especially if you're talking about Mrs. Jones. But if you bought a decent enough telescope or pop along to your local observatory, you might be able to see it for yourself. That's a black hole, not Mrs. Jones's butthole.
So stupid, man. Wake up, fucking people. Anyway, so, sorry. I veered off there. So we know what all these famous people did that were imaginations from who's ever making up our history. But we don't know one major thing. And that's actually something I'm driving with right now. Who invented the wheel?
A question for another time, because I did ask a question some time ago saying or asking how long should these videos last, and the most popular opinion was between 10 and 15 minutes. So here I am, and as promised, if you stuck around, I've cobbled together some outtakes, so stick around and enjoy. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for letting me be a part of your life. I love you all to the moon and back. Ta-ra for a bit. Well, hello there, dearest viewer, and welcome back to my little corner of the YouTubies. Thank you all so much for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday. I'm getting all mixed up there. I'm getting my words mixed up. I don't know why. Well, hello there, dearest viewer, and welcome back to my little corner of the YouTubies. Thank you all so much for joining me. Now, before we go any further, please like, share and subscribe. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. And a massive shout out to my amazing patrons and channel members, which Crystal Berger, Alan L, Bob Sadler, District Driver, and something or other, Morris Culture. There we go. Well, hello there, dearest viewer, and welcome back to my little corner of the YouTubies. Thank you all so much for joining me. Now be God. Oh. I hope you like that new layout. It's just all done by hotkeys on OBS, and it saves a bit of time, I think. I hope you know that for pity's bloody sake. Do you know, Mr. Chris, I am going to give you some free, and I say again, free flip